Coming up on Mountain News this morning, the search continues for a man who has been missing since late last year. And soon, state legislation could have harsher punishments for animal abuse.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News this morning.
Good morning, I'm Olivia Calfee. We are coming up on 6:30 on Thursday, February 22nd. Now let's check in with meteorologist Tim Drawbridge for a look at your forecast this morning.
Good morning, Olivia. Good morning, everyone. Mild start to the day. 55 outside our studios here at WYMT. As we go ahead and check out the weather headlines as we rock and roll through your Thursday. Not only rain and issues we head through the day today. Some of the winds will not only pick up but be gusty in nature and approach 30 miles per hour in spots as we head through this afternoon especially. Some heavier bursts of rain with the action moving in late this afternoon to this evening as well. And then we got that cold air coming in Friday night, Saturday, but it's a short window with it. Temps look nice for next week. Temps look nice right now in the 50s for many of us across eastern and southern Kentucky. The pinpoint Doppler radar, it's quiet now. We look back to the west with this evolving area of moisture, and this is the reason why the pinpoint Doppler radar will become active heading through later this afternoon. Breaks of sunshine becoming breezy and forecast highs in the lower 60s before the rain arrives late this afternoon and continues into this evening. More about the First Alert 7-day forecast coming up in just a few moments. Olivia?
All right, thank you, Tim. Police are still searching for a man reported missing in mid-December. State police say 56-year-old Richie Sloan was last seen walking near his home on Kentucky Highway 160 in Knott County. Police say foul play is not suspected, but they have not yet ruled it out. Trooper Matt Gayhart says police often have a routine in searching for people.
Typically, we'll start with their last scene or with their home residence and kind of expand outwards as the investigation goes. Frequent known locations, interviewing people that they're known to speak with.
Gayhart says tips and leads in the case have been unsuccessful so far. Sloan is not considered by police to be dangerous. Two Pulaski County men are sentenced in separate federal child pornography cases. 48-year-old Floyd Adams will spend 20 years in prison for receiving child porn. 41-year-old Jonathan Canada was sentenced to 28 years behind bars for the production of child pornography. You can find more about the investigations on WYMT.com. Kentucky lawmakers advanced a bill that would strengthen an animal torture bill that was passed 16 years ago. House Bill 258 would add to the bill known as Romeo's Law that deals with tougher penalties for the torture of a dog or a cat. WYMT's Phil Pendleton has more on what the bill will do.
Ethan the dog came to the House Judiciary Committee Wednesday as his owner pushed for passage for a bill named for him.
He was soon traded for drugs and thus began a 7 to 8 month, unbelievably hellish life he had to endure.
Callaway wants Ethan's Act passed to toughen animal torture laws to prevent the neglect and abuse leveled on him.
Ethan was intentionally restrained in a kennel that was way too small for him. Too small for him to stand or even move around. Because of not being able to move, Ethan developed pressure sores on his legs.
Wanton disregard has been added because these offenders know what the consequences of their actions are going to be, and they just display a lack of care.
This bill would add some provisions to Romeo's Law, which was passed 16 years ago. That all stemmed from a case out of Pulaski County where some people saw a dog being severely beaten. And they said that at that time there needed to be a changing some of those offenses from a misdemeanor to a felony. Representative Whitten says Romeo's Law was good, but more is needed.
It does not mention restraints, one of the key conditions under which a pet can be tortured when it cannot escape.
The bill passed with 16 yes votes, 1 voting no, and 1 passing. Frankfort, Phil Pendleton, WYMT Mountain News.
The bill also would take into account owners' rights and hunters' concerns that were challenged in the past. A Southern Kentucky man has been arrested after he was wanted by London police. Police say they had an outstanding warrant for 24-year-old Kylan Dwayne Hutton. Hutton is facing rape and sodomy charges. Hutton also had been wanted out of Whitley County for 2 counts of assault, criminal mischief, and possession of a firearm. In Whitley County, Williamsburg police arrested a man accused of burglarizing a church. Officials say Brandon Gonzalez tried to use a check he stole from Hanging Rock Baptist Church to buy items from Walmart. Church leaders say the building was damaged from the break-in. Gonzalez is now being held in the Whitley County Detention Center. 2 men are behind bars after police reportedly found drugs and guns in their possession in Letcher County. After noticing an SUV that was parked, one of the men got out of the SUV. KSP troopers conducted a search of the vehicle, finding loaded handguns along with approximately 3 grams of meth and a glass pipe. Richard Chad Foss and Chad Bentley both face multiple charges. They were taken to the Letcher County Jail. More than 24 people are facing charges in a major drug roundup. The arrests are part of a months-long investigation involving several law enforcement agencies. Laurel County Sheriff John Root says they have arrested 27 people so far. He adds by the time they have completed their investigation, he believes close to 40 people will be behind bars or maybe even more. We have more about this on our website at WYMT.com. The president of Southeast Kentucky Community and Technical College is retiring. In a news release from the college, Dr. Vic Adams, who has served SKCTC for nearly 30 years, is stepping down from his post. A couple of months ago, we reported Adams was on administrative leave. Hazard Community and Technical College President Dr. Jennifer Linden has been acting president since then. United Auto Workers say the nearly 9,000 union members at Ford's Kentucky truck plant in Louisville will stay on the job. The union threatened that they would go on strike if local contract issues were not resolved. They say Ford failed to reach an agreement with UAW Local 862 more than 5 months after the contract deadline. The two sides were trying to come together on health and safety at the plant. Now, Union President Todd Dunn says a tentative agreement has been reached. Activists filled the state capitol in Frankfort rallying for LGBTQ rights. It comes as Governor Beshear says more than a dozen anti-LGBTQ bills have been filed during the legislative session. Just one day before the rally, Senator Karen Berg filed Senate Bill 238, a bill that would undo much of the controversial Senate Bill 150, which passed last year.
There was one part in here that for me was honestly the single most hurtful part of SB 150. All I said was that if that child's guardian with a note from a medical provider asks that that child's pronouns be respected, the school will do their best to accommodate.
Senator Berg says Senate Bill 238 is really a parents' rights bill as well, adding it was important to her to be understanding of the concerns of all parents while also protecting all of Kentucky's children. In February, we celebrate Black History Month as a nation, and officials with the Perry County Sheriff's Office felt it was important to highlight the history it's making. WYMT's Madison Carmouche shows us the importance of representation for young folks in the region.
Perry County Sheriff Joe Ingle says he is proud of the strides toward diversity his agency has made in recent years.
We have 4 black deputies and 1 female, so that's a big part of our department center. We're just all right at 30 paid employees altogether, so that's a big part.
Ingle says while these are not the first black deputies, they make history in their numbers.
I think that's something that they can be proud of. They're breaking through barriers, and a lot of people that came before them worked very hard and made a lot of sacrifices and endured a lot of pain and suffering to get to where we're at today.
But Deputy Marcus Prater says it can be a battle between breaking those barriers and not wanting to be seen negatively by the Black community.
Some of the majority at the time would think that's probably not the best job for me because my own race may think I'm against them. But some want that because, they want their ethnicity to be on this force so they can feel more comfortable.
He says he was inspired through representation and hopes to do the same for generations to come. All agree it is both an honor and privilege to protect and serve.
I just really feel like it changes a lot in law with having Black people in our agencies.
Letting them know that there's Black men out here as deputies, officers, that are here to help.
Sheriff Ingle says he is proud to support the 4 deputies as they change the narrative in their community. In Perry County, Madison Carmouche, WYMT Mountain News.
We are told the Perry County Sheriff's Department welcomed its first Black deputy, Walt Nixon, under Sheriff Les Burgett in the 1990s. The Grammy Award-winning Louisville Orchestra is gearing up for the last leg of their In Harmony, the Commonwealth Tour. The tour kicks off next week in Corbin. Jacob Gottlieb with the Louisville Orchestra says the tour will highlight the music Kentucky is known for, bluegrass, while championing living composers like Alex Burko. This is the second year in a row that the orchestra is bringing its show to every corner of the state to share world-class music with fellow Kentuckians.
Many of the places that we're visiting on this tour specifically maybe don't have access to an orchestra, or maybe folks have never seen an orchestra play before, or they don't have access to a lot of resources for musical education in their communities.
All of the concerts are free and open to the public.
And a good Thursday to you. Check out the temperatures across eastern and southern portions of Kentucky. And as you can see, we're all in the 50s right now. Cool stuff is as you make your way out into West Virginia and western portions of Virginia, and this colder or milder air is trying to dislodge the colder air out toward Grundy, Clintwood, Wise, and over toward Logan. And we've seen Logan's temp now go from about 45 a couple hours ago to now near 50. Quiet on the pinpoint Doppler radar. Right now there's a shower north of Moorhead right along the Ohio River, but it's this area that we're tracking for this afternoon, and that's the area of moisture that will continue to become more widespread, more robust, and bring us the steadier rain late this afternoon to this evening. Some of that rain could be heavy at times. Until then, breaks of sunshine becoming breezy and a high in the lower 60s. As we look ahead to the weekend, we get cold, but we warm up quick. We'll explain. First Alert 7-day forecast coming up in just a few moments. Oh yeah, special hello to Corbin too, Olivia.
All right, thank you, Tim, and thanks for joining us. The time is now 6:42. Still to come on Mountain News this morning. New insight on new sanctions against Russia and how escalating tensions from overseas are playing out on the American political stage.